As daily news coverage bounces from one violent conflict to another, it's easy to forget that peace is still a daily norm. That observation comes in a report entitled Building Peace Together, released by the Quaker Council for European Affairs, which surveyed 80 different case studies to show what tools can support peace building. For more on this, we're joined on the line by Olivia Caeymaex, the head of the Peace Programme at the Quaker Council for European Affairs in Brussels. Olivia, thanks for taking the time. What's the main message of this report?
Thank you. Yes, the main message from the report, Building Peace Together, is that it really makes the case for peace building in response to research that shows that over 2/3 of conflicts today are actually resolved through peace agreements rather than the traditional response of military intervention. The report argues that peace building is everyone's business, including the usual suspects like governments and civil society or regional organizations, but also the unusual actors like the private sector that often engage in conflict zones. It is the conjunction of efforts across a variety of sectors that can help prevent conflict and build peace.
So how did you identify the 11 sectors cited in the report?
Well, we wanted this resource to be accessible to a majority of people, so we wanted to use a structure that would make sense to people around the world. And that's the reason why we chose sections that resemble a government ministries like justice, economics, environment, or education.
And how did these findings relate to international policies as they're being implemented today?
Well, we observed, for example, that the European Union called for an integrated approach to crisis and conflict. The United Nations is calling more and more for a focus on conflict prevention, on sustaining peace, and on sustainable development goals, such as the Goal 16 on peace and justice. So this report really aligns with these policies and, in fact, provides a starting point for any engagement, which we called the peace-building principles. They include aspects like the importance of engaging with the population and their ownership of any peace-building initiative, but also aspects like the gender balance or power dynamics or being inclusive in any type of engagement.
And which examples would you choose as a template for others who are seeking peace?
Well, it really depends what conflict and what context you're actually working in. And that's also a very important aspect of the report, is that you need to be self-reflecting on yourself. Are you the right actor to be acting there? Do you know the conflict context? And do you know the root causes well enough? But as just an example of type of intervention, in education, we talk of peace education, which is a methodology that can be taught in schools to children to learn how to solve their conflicts through dialogue and mediation rather than through violence. That's just one example. But there is also a section on communications and media, since we're talking on the radio this morning, and on the fact that media obviously has historically had a role to play in conflict, and most certainly can play a role in preventing or in building peace.
Well, let's hope your report helps to give peace a chance. Olivia Caeymaex, thanks for joining us this morning from Brussels.